Heirloom apple trees are all around us in western Colorado. Apples have an amazingly long lifespan. Many are well over 100 years old, and yet they're still giving us fruit. But they're showing their age and they won't be around forever. And when they go, little by little, we're losing these unique heritage varieties of apples, some forever. It was Kim Whalen that introduced me to the idea of grafting our trees as a way to possibly preserve them. Kim's lovely home on Morciana Mesa was built in 1910. She has a stately old apple tree near the house that bears a delicious variety of heirloom apple, and Kim would love to reproduce it. Kim ordered the rootstock. She cut scion wood from her apple tree when it was dormant, and then she gathered all of the grafting supplies that we would need, including beeswax from her own bees. And here's Kim to explain the process.
All right, good morning, guys. So Lori is with me today, and we've been patiently waiting for about 3 weeks for our rootstock to arrive for our grafting project. So it came last night. So we're kind of partway through, more than halfway through the grafting, but we wanted to practice a little bit before we started videoing. So now we're practiced and ready. So what we've got in the bucket is 10 apple rootstock, and you can see, I mean, there's a pretty good root system on the base of these. These apples are already grafted; they're finished. So the top section here is the scion wood that I cut dormant off of an old heirloom apple tree that I have down in the yard, and then we use grafting bands here, which is just an elastic big rubber band to help seal the callus. So those are all completed. On the top of each one of the scions, I was told that the biggest issue with success is the scion drying out. So the top of the scions, I've sealed them with a beeswax. I just melted, took a beeswax candle and melted it and dripped the liquid wax on the top of each of those to seal them. And I ordered parafilm, so when my parafilm comes, I'm actually going to wrap the entire scion all the way up to the top to keep them from drying out while they callus together. So those are the apples. The graft that we used for the apple trees was called a whip and tongue. And what you do, so this is the scion wood, and I'm going to pretend like this is scion and rootstock. So you take a sharp knife and you just trim it kind of like that, creating kind of a flat surface and angular surface. And then you take your knife and you come in about maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch down, and very carefully, trying not to cut yourself, you create what's called a tongue, rocking the knife back and forth like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do that exact same thing on the rootstock. So if this was the rootstock, and I'm not going to repeat it for you guys, but I would do the exact same thing, create my tongue, and then I would slip those two pieces together with the tongue on this one interlocking with the tongue on this one. And from that point, then we take the grafting band and wrap it tightly all the way from the bottom up to the top, tie it off, and that's your graft. Making sure that the buds on the scion, if this was my scion and this was my rootstock, I'm making sure that the buds are going in an upward direction. The other thing I would have done is I would have also pruned this, leaving 3 to 4 decent buds on the scion, and I would have pruned this end as well before I started my cut, just to give it fresh cambium, so that cambium, what we're trying to do is get the cambium layer from the 2 different twigs to come into contact with each other. The cambium, if you guys remember from class, it's kind of like, the way I think of it in the human body is it's like stem cells. So the cambium hasn't decided yet what it's going to become. And so when those 2 cambium layers come into contact, they're going to heal over and and produce growth on that scion wood. So that's a whip and tongue graft on the apple trees.
The scion wood above the graft was wrapped in a parafilm to prevent it from drying out. Then they were potted up and watered, and then we waited. Lo and behold, weeks later, life! Yes, one was alive, and then the next, and the next, until all 10 grafts were complete. These healthy saplings will soon be planted to create a young orchard, and Kim's heirloom delicious apple will be enjoyed for many generations to come.